What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
Wow, so it seems like I find and stumble across some really interesting things when I'm not necessarily looking for it. So I found this earlier. And this was a job post for Pingo Studio. They're looking for a middle render developer. And this person would be working on porting games to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and also Nintendo Switch 2. It says porting the game's graphics engine to PS5, Xbox Series X, Switch, and Switch 2, optimizing and fixing shaders on devices, GPU profiling on devices, implement new graphic features, integration of visual effects with logical game events. So they are looking for someone that has knowledge of PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch APIs, and they're looking to pretty much port their game to all systems, including Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I later saw that they do indeed have access to Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits. And they actually put this on their website. We port games to all leading platforms. Nintendo Switch 2 porting says Pingo Studio is among the first companies in the world officially authorized by Nintendo to work with the Nintendo Switch 2. We at Pingo Studio have a proven track record of successfully porting games to Nintendo Switch. No matter the complexity and size of your game, we will have all the skills and hardware to make it look and feel great on Nintendo Switch. And I guess Nintendo Switch 2. So Pingo Studio actually does have a history of porting quite a few games to the Nintendo Switch and other platforms. And what's interesting about them is they'll post on their website examples of the games that they ported, and they call them case studies. And they'll actually detail what they had to do to port the particular game to the new system. A lot of times it's a Nintendo Switch, but sometimes it's just a game ported from the PC to consoles or just to another platform. But a lot of their games, quite a few of their games, were ported to the Nintendo Switch, and they pretty much discuss everything that they had to do in order to get the game up and running on the other system or the Nintendo Switch. So they have a long history with Nintendo Switch and Nintendo platforms, right? Now, them, not being a huge studio and having a Nintendo Switch 2 dev kit is interesting enough. But I also found that they announced 4 months ago that they had Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits and they were ready to help people port their Switch 2 games. And I noticed that link no longer works. So I guess Nintendo was probably like, don't be shouting that out. I guess it's too early, because that was back in April that they're boasting about having kits and we're ready to port games for you. And I guess Nintendo shut that down because that link no longer works. But here's what's really interesting about this. So I'm on their site, or I guess this is their blog, their official blog, and they have an article that says the top 10 most anticipated game ports revolutionizing cross-platform play in 2025, right? And it says that the date of this article was written on June 19th, 2025. So this is after the Switch 2 was already available. So keep that in mind. And that's also what makes this article very weird. So this is Pingo Studios. This is their actual blog, okay? So the games that they highlight are Marvel Spider-Man 2 on the PC, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition on Switch 2, Last of Us Part 2 Remaster on the PC, Tomb Raider 4 through 6 Remaster on PC and mobile, Deltarune Chapters 1 through 4 Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series and PC, Bravely Default Switch 2 and mobile, Hollow Knight Silksong Mac, No Man's Sky iPad, Mario Kart World, Switch 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles for PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and under 11 it says redefining cross-platform boundaries. Okay, so it says the gaming landscape continues its tectonic shift towards platform agnosticism. I can never say that word right. With 2025 posed to deliver groundbreaking ports that redefine accessibility across console, PC, and mobile ecosystems, from AAA blockbusters finally escaping platform exclusivity to legendary franchises receiving modern reinterpretations. These 10 upcoming ports represent critical milestones in the industry's cross-platform evolution. So, I'm not going to read all these because there's some of them that they don't relate to what I'm talking about here. So, you got Marvel Spider-Man 2 for PC. Okay, now this part's interesting also. It says Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition Nintendo Switch 2. Expected release date June 5th. Now, it's kind of weird that it says expected release date June 5th, and this article says it went up after the game was already out. So that's interesting. So maybe maybe they started writing this article and didn't publish it until then, or it was before. I don't know. But it says dynamic resolution scaling, 540p to 720p handheld, 1080p docked. Then it says DLSS 3.5 powered path tracing. Okay. So, that other studio that I did the video on, they said that the Switch 2 uses DLSS 3.1. This studio, who's actually a known studio that's actually, definitely has Switch 2 kits and has worked on multiple ports for the regular Nintendo Switch, says it's DLSS 3.5. So who knows? It says advanced culling tech to maintain population density, gyroscopic aiming, and HD rumble integration, optimized for Switch 2's improved cooling for consistent performance. Okay, scroll down here. Now here's what gets interesting to me. So it says Mario Kart World, Nintendo Switch 2, expected release date June 5th, which is, like I said, this is weird because this article was written after this game was already out. It says expected release date June 5th. Nintendo's racing crown jewel hits next gen with hybrid innovations. And it says real-time track morphing, right? But then it says Dolby Atmos integration. Mario Kart definitely does not have Dolby Atmos integration, so that already it's kind of weird. Then it says cross-platform play with Mario Kart Tour. No, that didn't happen. Cross-platform play with Mario Kart Tour mobile. That did not happen at all. And then it says VR spectator modes teased for Switch 2 headset? What? Where did that come from? And again, I'm scratching my head because one, like I said, this article was published, or this blog post was posted after Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart World was already available and the Switch 2 was already out. And there hasn't been any recent VR or headset rumors for Switch 2. I mean, I remember a few years back, I talked about how I thought maybe one of the gimmicks of the Switch 2 would be some kind of VR or probably AR, some kind of functionality. But that was years ago. Like currently, in the last year or two, there has been no major rumors of anybody saying that the Switch 2 was going to have a headset. But for some reason, this developer is posting about a VR spectator mode for a Switch 2 headset after Mario Kart World and the Switch 2 are already out. And that's just weird to me. Where are they getting this from? I don't know. What do you guys think? Slip up or just tripping? Because there's this blog post has a lot of errors. Like I said, Mario Kart World does not have Dolby Atmos integration. Mario Kart Tour does not have cross-platform play with Mario Kart World. So I'm scratching my head here. I'm not sure where the heck they got a VR spectator mode and a Switch 2 headset thing from. Because they're not posting this like things that they wanted. They're posting this stuff like as it's like a fact or something. And that's really tripping me out. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section.